Hello everybody and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today, guys, we're going to be looking at the Blue Jays potentially making a big splash in the trade market. Before we get into it, though, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. And TODAYJAYS is the code for Betstamp. Hop onto there. It's completely free. You'll get some sweet deals, we promise you. Now, this is not completely out of left field, folks. Some smart people over there at The Athletic, they seem to think that the Blue Jays are in the market for a big trade. I quote from their article that they just released, "That said, this offseason, it feels like the Blue Jays may take a step back from the free agency frenzy and be more active on the trade front." And this is something that we've talked about, analysts have been speculating upon, and looking ahead at those contracts, especially the ones like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that need to be extended, Bo Bichette, Manoah, etc., 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 and where we are in the luxury tax, it's becoming increasingly more of a conversation of maybe we need to trade some of our guys that are already making some money or are going to need extensions. What are your feelings when you hear that quote, and what do you think about it?
Well, just like you literally hit it on the head there. Like, we literally are running out of money here, guys, and we have guys coming up on the cusp of big contracts. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. needs a big contract. He's on his last year for the Toronto Blue Jays, as well as Teoscar Hernandez. So those are honestly two trade pieces right there, out of the norm of the catchers, like you said. Those are the obvious ones. Danny Jansen, Kirk,
which
Moreno.
We'll get to, for sure.
We're definitely going to talk about that, but those two are also guys that are coming up on the cusp of, like, you could use them as some trade bait, because look, our offense has never been an issue. Right. It's never been the issue for the last 2 years, but if you want to go and add some big arms, well, you're kind of running out of money. What other assets do you have? Right?
Well,
those guys.
I will to just push back on that a little, because I know that there's going to be some concerns there, and let's just say, or run down the rabbit hole here.
Yeah, go for it.
We were to trade off a Teoscar Hernandez or a Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Do you feel comfortable with the outfield the way that it would be, where you have a kind of injury-riddled Springer? You do have one of Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez still there for at least 1 year. We don't know if they get the extension or not. And then you probably have some, like, cycling of Tapia. Or
Tapia would be the starter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe you pick up some other guy who's kind of like a Tapia sort of guy. Like, would that be okay for you, or what do you think?
Look, like, what's that going to drop our offense to? Number 1 to number 3? Like, clearly the number 1 offense isn't really what's bringing us to the postseason and what's making us win postseason games. So my biggest thing is, look, if you're going to include a package of, like, a Teoscar Hernandez, let's say, for example, and, like, a Kirk for, like, a big superstar, I'm just, like, playing hypothetical, man. Then that has a better chance in my mind to improve the overall team than just to let them both go.
Yeah, and I guess maybe if I'm thinking about it this way, right? Like, when we were in those playoffs there, and I think that's why this article is saying it's like we're going to be very active in the trade market, makes a lot of sense, because you're talking about a Lord, you're talking about a Teal. Well, we didn't have Lord in the postseason. Didn't even need him. Now, if he was there, would we have maybe done better? Maybe. But would he have had as much impact as, like, a quality starter necessarily? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure, right? So it would be better to package off one of those guys instead of signing, like, a huge starter, like a huge, like, pitching starter, because we obviously need one here, folks. Trade for one with one of those dudes who has, like, 1 year left.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that conversation is just with Teo and Lord. Those are those pieces there. But I think the obvious one that everyone's looking at right now is those catchers.
Well, we have too much talent at one position.
Exactly, right? Like, as everyone knows, we have Kirk and we have Danny Jansen. Then you have Moreno right there in the wings waiting to come up. Now, Moreno is way too talented to just be sitting as a third stringer or even being in AAA right now.
Yeah, it was actually, just to sorry to cut you off there, but one of Ross or Mark, I forget who, and this is not a direct quotation, but pretty much exactly what they said was, if we can avoid it, he needs to be out of AAA for next year. It's like we can't have him there anymore because he is just too talented.
Right, and I'll make a comment on that too. It's like, okay, like, let's say that you don't trade him. I want to get back to the trading in a moment. Let's say you don't trade him. Maybe you convert him into an outfielder. That's what they were talking about.
That's where that conversation was going. Yeah.
So but either way, someone's getting traded. But if you look at those catchers, that's an easy, like, oh, clearly there's someone to be traded here. Yeah. Now, who in your mind do you see being the perfect trade bait for a lot of people?
As far as our catchers go, for me, it's got to be a Gabriel Moreno situation. And if it's not a Gabriel Moreno, then it needs to be a Danny Jansen. And I'll walk you through my thinking process right there. Danny Jansen. Now, this whole article right here from The Athletic basically speculating like how we are going to be a big trade, like trade contender here. The whole argument is, well, we don't have enough money to sign everybody back, right?
Yeah.
Now, Danny Jansen, he still has years. I think he still has 2 more years left on his deal after this. But you know what? That's starting to come up. And at the rate where he's going right now, you have to imagine he's going to deserve a bit of a payday.
Yes.
So if you were to trade him, then my thinking there is, okay, well, that kind of works in both aspects, where it's like you're trading an MLB-ready player who is very, very good. You should get a good return there, and you're not going to need to pay him.
Yeah.
Now, I really like Danny Jansen.
I do too.
I think he's really solid for this team, and we can see that he can perform at a major league level and handle this pitching staff.
But however, Moreno, you just reset the clock.
That's exactly what
reset the clock, and maybe he's got potential to be just doing exactly what Danny Jansen did last year. If he could just do that, then absolutely I will take that over
now,
Danny.
exactly. Now the alternative there is you trade Moreno away, you hold on to Danny Jansen, you have him for 2 years. Maybe you can't sign him back, and you just need to kind of be okay with that.
Yeah.
But maybe you get a bigger piece coming back for trading Moreno, and you just need to be okay with having Kirk's going to be the starter for probably us in 2 years from now. I think he can probably do it, and then you pick up some sort of back-end catcher in 2 years from now. But that's a problem later down the line. That's something way further in the future.
Yeah, well, let me throw it to reality, because I know some people in the comments are going to sound off on this. Is there any way we trade Alejandro Kirk?
I don't think so at this point. I can see, I understand why people would go in that direction, but from what they've been saying, from where they've been putting him in the lineup, having him be that third hitter for us sometimes, having us be that 4 hitter consistently through the season, those are all actions to me that say this is a guy that we want to have centered on our team for a long period of time, right? You don't have that guy be that 3-4 guy in your lineup and then trade him away. And you also don't have him be the primary catcher for your best starting young pitcher.
Exactly.
And trade him away.
And also, we're talking money. This is a business by the end of the day. The most popular player according to All-Star votes.
Yes.
Almost in all of MLB, literally top 3 last year.
Exactly.
So you don't trade that asset away that's on the field and off the field valuable. Now, okay, so we do you think it's going to happen, though? Do you think that we're going to be a big player?
I was just about to segue there and basically ask you, if this article's argument is we're going to be more active in the trade industry than we are going to be the free agency frenzy, do you agree with that? And can you see us actively making one of these, what I would consider to be a blockbuster move in a Moreno, in a Lourdes Gurriel Jr., in something like that? Do you think we're going to be more active trade-wise? And do you think a blockbuster is going to happen this offseason?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be more active. I mean, we've looked at the research the last few days on that budget, based on all of everyone going into their next arbitration years and looking at Ross Stripling potentially coming back in a qualifying, maybe not, but either way, that puts us right underneath the $233 million threshold. So you want to make sure that we need more than one guy.
I agree.
We need more than one guy to make this team a lot different than it was last year, to actually have a good bullpen, a great rotation. We need to do a lot more. So I think we're going to sign one guy. I mean, there's room to sign a guy for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a George Springer level off-season, though.
We've already done the George Springer. We've done the Kevin Gausman. We've done, the Jose Barrios. I think we're going to sign maybe one guy, and then we're going to make that blockbuster trade with one of our catchers. And don't be surprised if you see one of the outfielders as well being packaged in there if they're offering a big ace and maybe some bullpen as well.
Yeah, because I think that you said it perfectly right there. It's it takes more than one guy to fix the problems on this squad or to make us better, or at least even keep us the way that we were. And I know that one guy, Gabriel Moreno, for instance, would be worth more than one dude coming in return, right? If you trade away the number one prospect in baseball America right now, I can imagine you're going to be receiving more than one asset, or the asset that you get in return is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
And it's better than anything you could have got in the free agency market anyway.
Yeah, and there's one team, I do want to talk about one team that would be interested in Gabriel Moreno, and that would be St. Louis Cardinals.
I do agree, yeah.
Yadier Molina is ending his career right now. They need a new catcher, and what better way to be hey, let's just try and restart our franchise catcher catcher with a potential another franchise catcher.
Literally,
you know what I mean?
It's like that just worked for us like really well in the
The
past.
last
Like
20
let's just
years.
lock down like potentially the best young guy outside of Adley Rutschman right now, and just like have him be our dude. You know, I completely agree, man. Now I don't know what sort of guys we'd be getting from the Cardinals, but I do know that we have been in conversations with them before. I think with like the Tyler O'Neills of the world and stuff like that. So who knows? That could be very interesting for us moving forward.
Who knows? Who knows? Guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you think the Blue Jays are in to be big competitors on that trade market? You let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, also please like and subscribe, comment down below, and $3 a month become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to every single one of these current Patreon members. You guys are awesome.
And guys, thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays go!